Hello, good morning, everyone. Uh, I am Shahid Ahmad Dar, and I am a postdoc fellow at NIT Srinagar. Today, I will be discussing my recent research on microplastic contamination in the alpine lakes of the Himalayan region. This work is a part of my postdoc project carried out under the supervision of Dr. Khalid Musamil Ghani, Assistant Professor at Department of Civil Engineering, National Institute of Technology, Srinagar, Jammu and Kashmir. The introduction of the study. Microplastics are the plastic particles less than 5 millimeter in size. They are the emerging contaminants of major concern, having implications for the water quality, soil health, wildlife, and the climate dynamics. As we know, plastic pollution has gained significant attention globally, with large number of studies documenting its effects on the marine ecosystems. However, the high altitude ecosystems like the Himalayas have largely been unexplored for the microplastic pollution. This is the Hindu Kush Himalayan region where our research on microplastic pollution is focused. The HKH is often referred to as the third pole and the water tower of Asia because it contains the largest concentration of glaciers outside the polar areas, and the region is the source of 10 major river basins, providing essential water resources to more than 1.8 billion of population. So, as we know, the Himalayan region is already made fragile by the climate change. The infiltration of the microplastics can have additional impacts. So, anything negative that happens here is ultimately going to affect one fourth of the humanity. Keeping this in view, our study aimed at assessing the occurrence and abundance of microplastics in the Himalayan alpine lakes with a focus on understanding their transport mechanisms and environmental implications. This is the study area map, which is the northwestern part of the Indian Himalayas. And to have a holistic understanding of the microplastic contamination in Himalayan ecosystems, we collect samples from a range of ecosystems. Here you could see that uh, the yellow circles, they represent the sampling sites for collection of the snow and ice samples from the glaciers. Below represent the sites for collection of water samples from the high altitude lakes and the associated streams. And here pink represents the samples that were collected from the atmosphere. This is the map of the 10 major alpine lakes in the Himalayas that were sampled. The sampling was carried out in a four-person mariner boat, and these yellow stars, they represent the locations from where the samples were collected. You know, sampling the Himalayan ecosystems presented significant challenges and involved manual tracking for 3 to 4 days and carrying significant weight or burdens. Besides, the harsh climate and heavy rains, tough terrains, all were quite challenging. Coming to the methodology, the microplastic analysis was carried out as per standard protocols, and right from the sampling to final characterization, strict quality assurance and quality control procedures were followed. All water samples were collected in glass bottles. The glacier samples were pre-treated. However, no pre-treatment was required for the lake and the alpine stream water samples. The all the samples, they were filtrated on a 0.45 micron filter paper, and the retinate was again filtered through a syringe filter. All the analysis was carried out in a biosafety cabinet, and after the isolation of the microplastics. Further characterization through Raman spectroscopy and SAM EDX was performed. This is our air sampler set up at the Thajwas Glacier Valley in the Himalayas. And in the below photograph, you could see that dry deposit samples were also collected. To track the sources of the atmospheric microplastics, we used the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's high split model that has been widely used to assess potential sources of atmospheric particles and air masses. Coming to the results, you could see that the microplastics were widespread in the Himalayan glaciers, lakes, and the streams. On the left side, it is the microplastics. The yellow represent microplastics in the glacier samples. Below represent microplastics in the streams, and pink represents microplastics in dry deposition samples. And top red represents microplastics in the suspended air. On the right hand side, you could see that the microplastics were abundant in the 10 major alpine lakes that have been sampled. You could see that different concentrations of microplastics as observed per liter of the lake water. These are the representative images of the microplastics isolated from different environmental samples. You could see top, you could see the fibers, then middle one, the fragments, and below you could see the films and the foams. This is the Raman spectra of the microplastics carried out using the Raman spectroscopy, and it revealed the presence of various polymers like polyethylene tetraphthalate, polystyrene, polyethylene, nylon, polyamides, and many. The scanning electron microscopy images revealed that microplastics were of different shapes, having smooth, fibrous, irregular, and fragmented surfaces. Signs of erosion patterns and cracks were also observed on different microplastics, indicative of the physical and the mechanical weathering. The ADX analysis identified presence of carbon and oxygen as the predominant elements, confirming the polymeric nature of the microplastics. Additionally, some microplastics showed significant amounts of trace elements like you could see sulfur, chlorine, and the heavy metals such as zinc and here iron were also observed and detected in some of the samples. This detection of metals, it suggests a dual role of microplastics as carriers of pollutants in aquatic ecosystems. This figure shows the shape, size, color, and polymeric characteristics of the microplastics in both the glacier and the lake water samples. Here the fibers were the dominant shapes, followed by the fragments. Microplastics were the colored, uh, including black, below red, and they were also transparent or the white. High split modeling indicated that approximately 75% of the microplastics and air masses traveling to the Himalayan glaciers have global sources, 16% have regional sources, and approximately 8.3% originate from local sources, with majority of the global sources originating from Mediterranean Ocean, North Atlantic Ocean, and the North Africa. These are some of the local activities responsible for the uh, disposal of the plastics and microplastics in the Himalayan region. As you could see, the tourists hiking, camping, and all these activities led to the disposal of the microplastics. So, for the protection of the Himalayas, the strategies for conservation include, reducing plastic usage, avoiding single-use plastics, supporting cleanup initiatives, and spreading awareness. Thank you.